Game 1, FPX showed exactly how they locked in that first place spot here in the LPL and exactly how dominating they can be against Victory 5. This time we're going to see if they can do a little bit better, but it's going to be really hard to follow up that last performance.
It'd be like one of those Mario Kart games when you're trying to get that time race. You're literally racing against yourself is what I'm seeing here from FPX.
Come on, we need a faster game time. We need a faster one.
19 minutes.
Come on, we can do it. And I think a lot of that acceleration came from the performance of Tian, because we expected him to have a rough time there in the early jungle, but with some great pathing, with a lot of that, he came through really hard, out-jungled Ben 4, and that's why he's going to be the MVP.
Yeah, I think that what we saw was a playoff preview in a lot of ways. Just from Silas, how strong he is, he's not going to get nerfed in quite some time. So to be able to see the team flex between 3 roles, hell yeah, you're in the semifinals in the best of 5. You're going to have to ban it against this team. If you give it away, then primarily you can see it at Doinb, GlmGoon, or on this ban, because one of the greatest weaknesses he had in the early game, he definitely covered up and he was farming quite well. So great job to Tian. I think that early game for him was super strong.
But now that begs the question, because we did expect him to have a harder matchup there, have a harder time performing in that jungle position. What did Ben 4 do wrong that allowed Tian to get so far ahead?
I think the early skirmishes just needed focus. A lot of the times when we saw him recognizing that his lanes were far behind, and what he needed to do was be able to get that Scuttle Crab. Scuttle Crab was picked up, but he was trying to sit there for, like, see if he can get a skirmish up there, but you're going to lose every fight that ends up happening. And FPX, up until that point, had been rotating to every play, so you know there's going to be a numbers disadvantage because, like, LWX and Crisp had been pushing out that lane suddenly. So you get to a point where you're doing well as a squad, and if you're falling behind, it's been consistent for, Victory 5 that they've been falling behind at this point to the top teams in the league. Then know how to play out your compositions to be respectful, but still have that primary focus to keep your towers up. He wasn't there for a counter gank bottom side of the map, or at least to be able to keep the tower up, so they left that completely. Mid lane was suddenly a primary focus, and the team had been so slow to being able to get it that all it needed was another push for FPX to be able to take that down. So when you're behind, slow the game down. That needs to be your focus, and that we didn't get to see that from Ben 4.
Yeah, a lot. I think the big word there for Victory 5, the theme of that last match is misprioritization.
Yeah.
Because like you said, every time they took a fight, every time they looked for something, anytime they found anything, usually FPX were on the better side of it. They were on the up and up. They had already planned everything out. And going into that, I feel like better shot calling needs to be a priority here for Victory 5.
Well, in terms of like better shot calling, clearer is probably the word for I want to use it, because a lot of the fights that ended up coming through from FPX's standpoint, very clear. What they wanted to get the job done, they were able to complete. In the red side jungle, when the skirmish happened, that was probably like the messier fight that we saw from FPX, but that was because they had a very clear focus to be able to get Jarvin. If that didn't work out, get red buff. And then guess what? The exit had completely been thrown away, so the exit strategy had been blown out by that blast cone. Then their primary focus was let's just get the hell out of there. And they were able to complete that as well, because Chris roamed out from the bottom side of the map and helped out Doinb, who was running to the right. And you got to see from the left, like GlmGoon was already out alongside his jungler. So everything they end up doing is purposeful. There's reason for it. But for Victory 5, it seems like they stick around for a little bit longer just in case someone messes up. And you're at a stage of the split when that just doesn't happen.
So everything we've talked about so far for both of these teams has been entirely draft agnostic, save for the earlier Tian points. Going into this draft, is there anything you think would aid either team in accomplishing their goals? Like FPX just crushed, but V5 have a lot they need to improve on.
It's one of those things where I think the draft is completely fine from Victory 5. I think Victory 5 had a great draft from an early and mid-game perspective. They just gotten throttled because of how the game ended up going. Make it easier, certainly, because from Victory 5's standpoint, they don't have an easy engage option. Across the board, like Jayce, Vladimir, Braum, how do you start a fight if you have a lead? How do you come back when you're behind other than trying to play smarter? If the team is having difficulties for the majority of the split against the best teams at macro play, then make it easier for yourself. Galio, Jarvin, they already had the Jarvin aspect of it. Maybe they got denied the Galio. Then you can go towards like top lane options. Say Poppy, Sion, these are oftentimes like engage picks that you can have for your team where it's not that far behind. Like if you're ahead, you go farther ahead, it's snowball. If you're behind, then it's much more easier for yourself to think, okay, now I'm a Jarvin, I'm looking for a pick, but we can have that follow-up on a Silas in this case. So the follow-up wasn't there in this game. I'm never going to be the one that blames it on draft because it's skill over draft. And right now it seems like the draft can help somewhat in the skill department.
I think one of the things you brought up is good, because better engaged potential, yeah, sure. But I think one of the cooler things about those champions, like the Galio, like the Sion that you mentioned, is they're very clear and they're engaged. Jarvin, sometimes maybe you're just looking for a knockup. If you go in on Galio, everyone knows. That's a big slam into the ground. Same for Sion. So that might help clear up a little bit of Victory 5 shot calling coming into this game. But for the pick ban, they're just focusing a lot onto that mid lane, and FPX banning out their own Sylas.
Yeah, knowing that Jinoo's certainly going to pick it up. Corrin is also a great assassin type, so he has known how to play Sylas since its inception coming out into Rift. So Victory 5 being denied that is one thing. Already going back to the point that we made, I think Galio is a major priority. Ben4 is actually a strong Rek'Sai. So there's that possibility where you'd want to go towards a Rek'Sai option. But this is something that Victory 5 has picked in the past. I would like to see more Kayle. I think Kayle is certainly a higher prospect because it's been strong in solo queue, pretty high win rate. A lot of people would be surprised about that since she's such an insane scaler. Like her early 5 levels, worse than Kassadin's, but when you throw her up into the top side of the map, you can hide that, especially versus like melee options like Poppy. So it's not going to be picked here today, only because I see the Jayce being picked up from the Victory 5, and I do not expect GlmGoon to be throwing himself in a Kayle versus Jayce matchup.
It's a little bit iffy there.
Yeah,
Raz.
it's hard.
The early lethality into one of the squishier champions in the game with a basically non-existent levels 1 through 6. That's what we in the medical profession call a big oof, Raz.
That's a big oof.
But now FPX going for very standard pickups here. Not going to flex on us with the Kayle just yet. They have the J4 and the Braum, both incredibly strong picks that we saw last game as well.
And you almost expect them to go straight towards another like Kog'Maw pick, just because LWX had done so well in the last game with it, and they know that they have the Braum there alongside of the Jarvin to create space. If you're Victory 5, you have to find a reason for him to take it away. So there's a no Kalista in this game. It's already been banned. Then what's stopping LWX from saying, okay, I'll just pick up the Kog'Maw. I'm not even going to go towards the Hail of Blades. I have a better scaling option. So I would love to see Victory 5 try and change it up.
I mean, there's literally nothing stopping him. That's the point here. But the Kindred being picked up.
There we go.
Oh, and there's the Galio. We got a 2 for 2, Raz. You seem pretty happy about this.
Look,
one.
Kindred Galio is a hell of a comp, right? If you're just in a 5v5 and you don't know what's going to happen out of it, right? Because Kindred throws down his ultimate and you're trying to figure out who comes up at top. Not only is Kindred going to leave that third proc on his E just so he can get the final bit of damage when the ultimate subsides, but also the CC coming in from Galio to back him up. There is certain clarity from Victory 5's composition in a 5v5.
Something they were very sorely missing last game, and now FPX, as you suggested, they're locking in the Kog'Maw again. LWX feeling pretty good on that one. Last time he got 8 kills, so for good reason.
Jungle is, if I'm Victory 5, like what do you end up banning here? Because just talking about the Jarvin option has gone towards the top lane pretty often in the LEC. Sometimes in the LCK as well. Like, Jarvin is just a great flex pick, I think. So if you're FPX and you've already come out with the Sylas jungle, and I'm sure you're not going to get your hands on it, I just love the fact that they're now giving Tian so much priority in the jungle. If I look towards the next game, or at least the next round in the second phase, I'll still put Jarvin in the jungle, but I want to see if I can get like GP there for FPX, because I think the Gangplank is so strong versus the Kindred.
FPX, though, in the second banning phase, they really just want to take away the options in the bottom lane here for Victory 5 because they didn't prioritize it very much, didn't draft an 80 carry, but Victory 5, a lot of focus on solo lanes. We've talked about how strong Doinb and GlmGoon are, so that makes sense to me.
And ordinarily, GlmGoon has even picked himself in poor matchups, so the only worry you'd have if you go towards the GP is that you're going to pick yourself into the Jayce, and you're going to get harassed quite consistently, and there's probably going to be a dive up topside. I really want to see where the Akali ends up going because Doinb has played it solo queue quite a bit. He's dabbled in it here and there. But GlmGoon, if you're asking me who's more likely to pick up the Akali, it's certainly GlmGoon. GlmGoon is the Akali player for FPX.
It's definitely stronger this patch as well. The 9.5 bucks helping her out quite a bit. And it looks like Victory 5 focusing on their 80 carry, trying to figure out what exactly.
There we go!
There it is. Getting the Jinx hyper carry right there.
Please pick up the Thresh. I think Thresh and Jinx are just such a great duo. Hook, play, chompers, like laning phase, kill potential is there. But hovering over the Tahm Kench just shows to me that they're trying to play a smarter game. If we're talking about the two most played champions or most comfortable champions that he's had in his career, certainly Tahm, Kench, and Alistar come into mind. So it looks like that Victory 5, we're just talking about like clarity overall. Their composition is such a great snowball team fight composition.
On top of that, it does set up a lot of safety there for Y4. You know, it's like you said, it's clarity. Lei knows his role. Keep Y4 safe. Let him scale. Let him dish out the damage. But FPX, oh no. Is this going to be Doinb's Corki?
Yeah, let's do it.
Are we going to see the Iceberg Gauntlet again, Raz?
Only if they get a lead. And no one else, all right? It's fun to talk about Doinb's like options when he has items on him, because when he picks up the Corki, yeah, he picked up Iceborne Gauntlet last time we saw him play it. But I still don't blame the items when he lost. A lot of the times the mentality Doinb has is if he has himself a lead, pick slows, utility, catch up to the people on side lane. So there's always that bullying factor where you can catch up for another auto attack that's going to be crit based, right? When they lost that game versus EDG, a lot of it was off of people getting picked off around Baron. So for FPX, they lose on the first go around in the execution, and then they get outscaled. And then you saw in the end of that game, he ended up selling the Iceborne Gauntlet, picks up the Trinity Force. He recognized that the game has gone on too long. FPX is that kind of team. Full momentum into the early and mid game, and if that falters, then you start to mend those woes. I want to see what we get to see here from Doinb.
Well, and looking at Victory 5, now they've picked up a composition with a lot more clarity. Are you happier with this one enough that you think that they have more of a fighting chance against FPX in the early?
Of course, man. Like, this is what I wanted to see, right? Like, game 1, I don't think their draft is bad in game 1. But certainly, going into game 2, it's much more easier to execute around their composition. Galio just makes it far easier for you to protect your Jinx quite easily. So now you have Galio and Tahm, Kench. If anything were to happen in the bottom side of the map, you can certainly protect it, and that's what FPX's primary focus has been. They've been trying to look towards the bottom side of the map, but now that we get to see the Akali going top lane, FPX can just flip the page and say we're going top. So I think this is going to be real fun to see where that Galio ends up going. It's not going to be a support Galio, so then he will be able to defend Jinoo at all costs. Ben 4 has to get going, though. If Ben 4 falls behind and Corn ends up trying to be that lone warrior to defend his side lanes, they'll flop.
All the pressure is on Ben 4 as they try to take down the champions of the LPL regular split in FPX versus Victory 5, game number 2.
I've literally never seen that chroma for the skin in my life. It's sick. I'm a big fan.
I like it.
I ain't selling out, but I'm selling out.
You know what? Next patch is going to be better synergy with this composition.
You're right.
Because they're going to have.
We need more dogs on the Rift.
I just want to see FPX go for a full dog composition. That's why I wish this game were on 9.6, because I can see them doing it.
I think we're close, man. Playoffs is when we get to see the double dogs. Maybe the triple dogs if we have a tank in the top lane. Dog champ with the dogs outside.
Oh, FPX going real aggressive on this level 1 invade. Victory 5.
Hit him.
No idea. Chris saving the Winter's Bite. There it goes. Forces the flash at a Y4, but Flash
one more.
Looking for the stun. They land it. Y4 uses the heal. Can they get the chase down? Can they get the kill? The flash up from Chris. He gets an auto. 1, 2. Bash him down with the door. First blood.
It's always the Braum invades that you look towards. If you're in solo queue, you're thinking like Thresh, Morgana, like the Blitz, Tran, Cook, but Braum is such a beast in the level 1. Easiest pickup of their lives.
What? Oh, who got that? It wasn't Ben 4. He tried to flash for the steal, but wasn't able to find it. Now he's going to die as well. LWX has picked up 2 assists, and now they're chasing down on delay. This level 1 is way too low.
Where are you going, Y4?
Dunk with the flag from Tian. There's the stun onto Y4. Are they just going to get 4 kills? A triple kill for Jarvin at level 1. What is going on, Raz?
So you know how last game Ben 4 was the most tilted he's ever been in his life?
I do.
Well, this game is just already topped that. I don't know how we're going to keep playing this one out, but let's see how Victory 5 can do it, because my God, they've got obliterated.
That is a rough start if I've ever seen one. And we saw the mid lane, Corn was already down to like 20% HP. How did that happen?
Why would you ever double down on a steal on your own red buff when there is a Braum just looking at you? You flashed in? Like, literally, I was just singing your praises, Ben 4, but this has to be the worst series of your life. Here comes the Scuttle War of 2019. Let's do it.
Scuttle v Scuttle. GlmGoon taking a little bit of damage there in the top lane. Looks like Tian will be able to secure this one. No surprise. He's 3-0-1. No one's going to want to scrap with him just yet.
And he denied the mark. So that's the biggest thing Tian is. I mean, he's literally 3 kills on himself. So not only has he denied the mark on the top side, but the next mark that would reset in 40 seconds is not going to be easy pickup here. As here comes Jinx. Oh, wow. Okay. Olay.
Right. He's just driving through. He's like, hello, neighbor. Goodbye.
Just realized a Matador skin for Jayce would be wonderful right about now.
Not going to have it just yet, though. And Corn taking a lot of pressure here in the mid lane. So the early game, I feel like this doesn't really need reiterating Raz, but we're going to anyways. The early game's going very well for all of FPX.
Yes, especially since at this point, one of the things that Kindred needed, as I said, going into this game, was an early game lead of any sort. Should be easy with the matchup that you have installed, but obviously with how it's been, you lost a lot of kills in your early game. You've been denied of the top lane Scuttle Crab, and if we're just talking about the next available mark, would either be Raptors or Gromp, and you're not invading for Raptors anytime soon. You don't have control of the mid lane, and if you're talking about the Gromp in the bottom side of the map, you're not going to have that control either with your bottom lane not being in a strong enough position. And if you didn't respect Crisp's rotations last time around, you're going to be respecting it now. So Kindred has to just focus on his own camp for a good little while.
Forcing the fear in level 1. FPX seem to have accelerated their game a little bit. Going to see in the mid lane the double Doran's ring picked up there for Corn. He is not happy with the laning phase so far.
Yeah, certainly not. Already, like, when the nerfs to the overall damage of the Galio came through, we still saw a little bit of more the Galio. They wanted to go for double ring. Overall, you expected more dark seals, double dark seals, so you can at least keep topped up. But here comes Corn.
Corn, I don't know about this one. He's going to be able to land the taunt. He gets it onto both. That's a good start, but Flame Chompers won't land off the back of it. And now
all right, let's go.
Chasing down onto Lei. Look at Tian. He's coming in for the gank. Not able to find Lei just yet, but Y4's low. Corn gets Justice Punch straight into Tian. Forced the flash. Red buff. Not going to be able to get enough of a slow just yet. Winter's Bite eaten away.
Here comes Doinb.
Coming in for the roam. Nobody has ult yet.
This is a huge wave. Certainly going to be a dive.
They're looking for it. They have all 4 members here. Not going to be able to find the flag and drag. There it is. Tian comes in for the drive-by. 2 kills. Can they make it? 3. LWX going to pick that one up, but dies for it. The white flag comes out.
They're going to keep the backlane minion, the back wave minions low, so you can see the Kog'Maw pick it up. So not only was Kog'Maw able to still pick up the experience from the front wave and the gold from the back wave, but this is a humongous experience and gold that Y4 will be losing in the bottom side of the map.
People meme a lot about proper use of the Kog'Maw passive, but realistically, if we were ever to talk about it, that's the proper use, man. If your team just sets you up for farm, hey, it's the best thing you can get out of it.
Yeah, like overall execution from FPX's side has been excellent this series. Game 1, we saw some issues where Victory 5 were able to take advantage of it, like in some instances. This game, not at all. So at least Ben 4 ends up getting the mark on the top side of the map, but they have been losing so much. 5 deaths in the bottom lane as a whole. Yeah.
And that bottom lane turret for Victory 5 is looking way worse for wear because Doinb was able to get on it all by himself with the Sheen. 3 turret platings lost. That is a really, really bad look so far.
It's only going to be worse when the package ends up coming through. This is literally pre-packaged Corki. So usually when you have the Corki in this, you know, get to the 8-minute mark, you have your package, you end up rotating to the bottom lane. You never end up looking for the all-in committal, but if it's this bad for Victory 5, certainly you would expect Doinb to go for a full committal with Tian to look for a bottom lane dive again.
You know how you can tell that Doinb's serious this game, Raz? He's building Trinity Force.
He's in it.
He's skipping the Frozen Fist, man. He wants to go in it to win it. And with this early game, we were joking about them trying to take a faster game, but this actually might be it. They're having an incredible early game here. Tian has a ton of pressure on not only the lanes, but the enemy jungle, Doinb as well. And now he's looking for a dive into the bottom lane. Not quite level 6, though.
This would be a little bit more risky just because Corki is not in the rotation. But he will be pulling in Galio. The moment they have eyes on Galio, this tower is going down.
2 turret platings.
I see him now.
Not quite level 6 for Tian. There it is. Able to take away the little Krug as well, giving him the experience lead he was looking for. So Cataclysm is on the board as is Lamb's Respite.
All he's really looking for is planting the flag so LWX gets that boost in attack speed. The moment he gets that, he can harass under tower consistently, just chip at the tower if he wants. Harassing is a little bit more beneficial here because Y4 is going to be forced to base. He already has no mana in this kit. So there we go. I think they've just conceded the bottom lane tower.
Tower, like we said, 2 turret plating, so it should be a quick pickup here for LWX, and that means, I mean, look at FPX's gold already. It's 8 minutes in, 3,000 gold lead.
So I lied. I forgot the fact that Y4 had his teleport right back up and he was able to defend it, even pushing Jarvin out of there. So here we go, GlmGoon.
Oh, GlmGoon, I don't know about this. You're not having a great laning phase so far. You do have the ultimate perfect execution. There's one, not going to find 2.
I've seen some nutty Jayce interactions in the past. Like, I've seen Jarvin flag drag out, but then guess what? The animation on Jayce is slow enough to just knock him right back. That was insane. What the hell?
That was Akali baseball.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't even good baseball. I mean, to be fair, in my eyes, there's no such thing as good baseball, but that was some bad baseball.
That was straight off bunting him to hell. Yeah. That's what happened there to GlmGoon, and now
that was the developer sad face right there. You're not going anywhere near him.
But this does mean that Jinoo actually has a winning lane this time. He's doing a lot better. He's up CS, so if there's one saving grace for Victory 5, it is no surprise where it is. It's in the top lane.
It's the fact that even happened, and you see Jinoo picking up that lead. I'm mad for GlmGoon. Like, the team actually makes a lot of jokes around how GlmGoon is a rager in solo queue. Like, he gets really unhappy about, obviously, the usual top lane woes of your jungler not being good enough, like the jungle difference, like you getting 1v3'd. He's the type of person to be, like, banging on his, desk or something. Like that, I'm banging on my desk for him.
That was a 1v1, though. And as is this, LWX forces out the Lamb's Respite. Chris going to be able to tag him. There's the stun. The heal not going to be enough. Maybe Lei picks him up. Looks like Victory 5 going to make it out of this one alive, but hurting.
Yeah, Ben 4 made himself very obvious. I'm going to try and pick up Gromp. Gromp is actually just so hard for you to just go for an invade, because not only is it going to be beside the duo lane, but because you have to dig a little bit deeper. And you saw the major issues around that. Dig deep into the blue side jungle. You had to blow both the flash off of Lei and his, of course he has Spellbook, so the cleanse is not something that's going to be beneficial. But you lost a lot on the bottom side of the map for that.
Now, once again, 1v1 in the top lane. GlmGoon on the wrong side of it, but Tian's here this time. This should help him out quite a bit. The flash from both of them, and Tian gets the flag and drag knock up for his 4th kill of the game. 404, enemy top laner not found.
Now Ben 4's got to get the hell out of here. He's that 1-4 that needs to leave.
Doinb's got the package. He's got the Triforce. There goes Lei, picked off, no problem.
Double AD carry here alongside the Braum. This should be the easiest pickup. I know they're going to be able to get this 160 distributed by, just 2 people. Isn't Doinb gracious enough to leave you to getting that turret? Oh, they didn't even get the play. Wait a second.
Hold on a minute, Rez.
He left for no reason, but Corn sticking by.
Doinb backs here. FPX are in a little bit of trouble. Going to find the Justice Punch. Teleport coming in as well. Forces the flash away from LWX, but no flash going to come out from Corn. And the flank from Jinoo isn't even going to happen.
Why was the flash not used? Especially if Jinoo's following up, and he certainly has the range alongside the Super Mega Death Rocket from Y4, you're going to get a kill. So, well, at least burn a flash. Like, if you're that far behind, try and get something out of it, but that's a teleport from Jinoo for nothing.
When you're getting nothing across the map for Victory 5, what better use are you going to find than a flash to get the taunt on the AD carry and support, where you might be able to actually get a kill this game? They're sitting at 2 kills. They're at a 5K deficit.
There's always going to be that worry that Braum will be untaunted, use his wall, and stop a lot from happening, but I really think that if you're falling this far behind, you need to do something. This is the type of game where you saw a play right before your eyes. LWX and Crisp were just literally there. Crispy. Just looking for the, looking to get picked up by somebody, and no one was knocking.
Now with that, like we said, Victory 5 still 2 kills. They're having one hell of an early game. Raz, how do they come back from this one? The bot lane tower hasn't fallen just yet, neither has the mid, but a lot of turret platings have come over.
Ironically, Corn, right? We already talked about it from game 1 to game 2, that we need to see the Galio, like more so like just the engaged options. Speaking of engaged, Tian wants this.
Flag and drag doesn't need to land the knockup, but here comes Corn. Not going to find a knockup of his own either. Tian picks up the kill, trying to get the taunt there. They'll be able to get the shutdown. Super Mega Death Rocket from downtown, and Doinb low. Another shutdown. They've lost 2 carries so far, but they will pick up one on the backside. LWX free firing onto Lei as well. And that will be 2 kills for 2, but that's a massive victory for Victory 5.
Yeah, for Y4 in particular. The fact that he was able to help out and get a kill for himself. He was the one that was hurting the most on his team. And so I talked about Corn wanting to be there to start the fights, but he had to be there to defend Ben4, who was caught out in the jungle. So to begin that whole play, Victory 5 were the ones that were left wanting. It was sad that that's how that ended up starting out. But to end it, I mean, Y4 just saw Corki running at him. He's like, I'll take that, right? I'll take that kill if Doinb wants to give it to me.
It's a massive shutdown. They're going to get so much gold in their pocket, and now they will lose the bottom lane turret. But look at this. Ben4 pathing around, wants to get the gank. So little health on this turret. Abyssal Voyage comes in. FPX are at least going to get the turret, but now they had to fight for their lives. 2 versus 3. LWX free firing. Lamb's Spike goes down, so they'll be alive for now. Teleport comes in from one of their own teammates. Lei still alive. Crisp still alive as well, but they lose their 80 carry, so now GlmGoon, it's all on him. He gets 1. Can he find the kill onto Y4? He gets 1 stun, but no, the shutdown from Y4, and now GlmGoon and LWX falling down. Supportal combat. Crisp, can you survive this one?
No!
Needs to stall until Tian can get there. Winter's Bite going to go wide. Lei chasing down, tongue slap, but dies for it. Not able to find the support of FPX, and Doinb picks up the tower mid.
7-1-6. Thankfully, Tian is strong enough to be able to defend his Braum. But wow, actually, that was the Super Mega Death Rocket that was just completely blocked out there. The mechanics right there. Y4 thought he can sneak another kill, but it was not going to happen. So, insane game overall. Like, this is what Victory 5 needs to be doing because FPX is making mistakes. They were keeping Tahm, Kench, or at least the Braum and the Kog'Maw bottom lane to get that tower. There was no one there to support them. Where was the Jarvin? Where was the Corki? There were so many questions where I was like, okay, if this is going to be the play that you're making, commit to it. But they didn't allow Victory 5 to rebuttal, and then you saw all of that ensue. So overall, I still think that Victory 5 are doing a decent enough job to come right back into the game. It's just that the deficit is just that large.
But if there's one weakness of FPX, we were talking about it earlier on, it's that once they lose their momentum, they have trouble bringing it back. When they're going, they feel good. But if they're overcommitting, like in this fight, they might lose their momentum too much.
So overall, I mean, this is just Chris and LWX on their own making a play, and you see Jarvin's in the top lane. There's no reason for Jarvin to be up that far up. I know that Tian around this time goes towards the next objective, which of course is not going to be the Cloud Dragon, would be the Rift Herald, but your whole point is to be tracing your bottom lane, and I think he lost sight of that. So this is actually me criticizing Tian in particular because with that large of a lead that you have, eye on the prize, keep the game moving. Get your bottom lane out there so you can actually move top side, and then you have a dual lane to work with you when you're picking up Rift Herald.
Both teams rotating their bottom lane towards the top side, like you said. And now Tian has pressure on the Rift Herald, and LWX and Crisp have pressure on this top lane turret. Should be able to take this one down because no one's here to contest.
This is just what we wanted to see out of them. I wonder where the Rift Herald goes now because you already had your dual lane pushing up top. You don't want to throw in a Rift Herald there. It's not going to be doing too much. I would say throw it in the mid lane. LWX and Crisp would then use that to go toward, use the push top lane, rotate to help out Doinb, double 80 carry, there we go. Gets a lot of good damage down.
Doinb with the Trinity Force will put down quite a bit of poke of his own onto the tower. His Herald should be able to finish the job. Boom! There it is. One more tower missing for the side of Victory 5. Now 4 to FPX's name.
And if you take top lane turret down, like you can still do that. That grants you access towards the blue side jungle. If you take mid lane turret down, you get access in both. And it seems like they're still going to get this tower.
LWX caught out on the Flame Chompers, though. Has to back off for the time being. It's worth noting that while Victory 5 are behind, that's a completed Infinity Edge on Y4. So he's not lacking from the raw AD at the time being. Just needs to find a fight.
It's just in terms of raw levels he's behind, of course. Naturally for Doinb 2 level ahead, just being in the solo lane, getting all of that experience. Being faced up against them with a rapid fire cannon, it's going to be ridiculously difficult for Y4 to try and trade against that. Speaking of hard to trade against,
Jinoo still keeping up the domination there in the bottom lane. He's looking good on this Jayce. He's got a 30 CS lead, got his Ghost Blade completed, working towards a second lethality item.
He's getting targeted here.
Yeah, Doinb coming in for the gank, but Ben Force here on the backside as well. FPX won't follow up the chase. Jinoo will get to live another day.
I love the fact that FPX is the type of team that's like no man left behind. Everyone is getting some attention. You could keep pressuring towards top lane, inner tower, but it's like, you know what? Our boy GlmGoon in the bottom lane needs some help. If you're watching an EDG game, and I know, you know, Mouse in the past, or right now it's Ray. Ray early on in the split, it was the idea of playing through iBoy so much that at times you would forget that Ray's on the map and trying to hold on for dear life with his Ornn. This time around, you just see how FPX love to play through all lanes being successful. It's been the case for GlmGoon for a while. I mean, even playing out the GP a lot of the times when he's feeling a lot of that heat, he ends up getting a response gank to stabilize the lane.
It's because a lot of their strength does come from that team fight synergy. You know, they play that chaotic style so well, and if someone's too far behind to execute their part of the fight, what are you left to do with? I mean, if GlmGoon's looking for a backline assassination, he's got no items. He's not going to have a good time, and neither is the rest of FPX. But he will at least be able to pick up the Gunblade, and he's working towards the Zhonya's Hourglass as well, as FPX look towards the top inner tower. Got 3 members here, but LWX is sitting on a ward.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult for them to be able to traverse this side. Like, remember that 1 blue ward? Okay, now 2 blue wards coming in from Victory 5. These are key wards for catching out A, Jarvin, and B, LWX, and seeing where he's rotating from top lane to mid lane. Those are all great. If you're FPX, you need some red trinkets to be able to clear all of that out.
Oh, fight going down from top laner to top laner. Jinoo pretty low. GlmGoon, can he find the perfect execution? Pop the maw, and now Jinoo running under the tower, not going to be able to find anything, and GlmGoon gets his return kill.
The movement speed that you're getting off of your passive as an Akali, just going around that circle, tracing it, is just way too much to handle. So even though Jinoo was like, all right, I need to get an escape out of here, man. I need something. Flashing in the right direction, and then realizing, of course, the ult didn't come through, and he was still able to kind of dodge out just a little bit. The damage went through, but still needed a little bit of help. Still got chased down by the Akali.
FPX now, with the pressure in the bottom lane relieved, are pushing heavily into this top side. They've got 3 dedicated here, but Y4 has so much wave clear at this point. Shut up, Colonel. I think Victory 5 are doing a little bit better than you're giving them credit for.
As you're saying that, he is inching nearer to 90%, and I agree with them. You know what, 90%? I think at this point, I'd say 95. FPX are a surprisingly clear team. I would say week 8, I'll say week 7. Week 7, we were saying this team still had that chaotic team play, and that was something that was more so a criticism of them. That coordination around their team fights had faltered, that they really needed the mechanics to come through. But this is wonderful set play. The vision's been completely thrown away from Victory 5, so now Victory 5 have to take that risk to try and push back on Baron.
And FPX not going to find a contest against their Baron take. They will secure it. 3 minutes and 30 seconds remaining on that. They could get a 3rd Cloud Drake if they really wanted to, but why bother? You're so far ahead with the Baron. You've got free reign of the full map.
Yeah, just push mid and top. At this point, look at a bottom lane wave. It's great for FPX. They should just leave that on their own. So if you're a Victory 5, you got to do something. You gotta be creative. If you thinking lay, corn, get that flank into the backside. The only concern if I'm thinking about that and saying, okay, you have instant backside access to LWX and Doinb, is that Chris will be there with his heal, flash, throw the Braum wall to be able to stop the follow-up. I'm concerned that there's not going to be follow-up to a lot of this, but at least make the play so you can challenge FPX's coordination.
At the moment, though, they're not going to find a whole lot of challenge. They're sitting at almost 3 items for everyone. Doinb has hit that 3-item power spike. He is pumping out the damage, and LWX is not far behind. So between the 2 of them, it's going to be so hard for V5 to contest, and they're playing incredibly carefully around their base. They're just turtling up, and even this contest from Jinoo might be a little risky.
There we go. Look at Lay's HP. What happened, my friend?
He took a Kog'Maw to the face.
Yeah,
just got slobbered all over by that pug. Good taunt from Corn. There's the shutdown onto LWX. The Lambster spike goes out, so Chris is not long for this world. Flashes over the wall, but Y4 follows. He's looking for the shutdown. He's excited, but he gets shut down himself. The fight that was looking so good for Victory 5 may have been turned on its head. Doinb picks up 1 on the side as well, and Corn getting chased down. V5's hopes are dashed as their AD carry goes a bit too far forward.
That's when get excited is like get too excited, right? What happened there? You getting into cosplaying right now? Because it seems like when you're playing Jinx, you don't have that stop button. That was wonderful from Victory 5. That's what I've been asking for, to see if you can get an instant flank on towards LWX. Both of them are gone. LWX and Crisp are no longer there. All you had to do, play back, slow their roll. Baron buff is still on 3 members. So let's take a look at what was great from Corn and Ben 4 to be able to come in and still get the kill on towards Kog'Maw. The job is done. It's just that the issue is the moment the Kindred ultimate goes down, they think they can chase Crisp over the wall, forgetting that Doinb was in the top side of the map just earlier on and has package there. So I'm a little bit sad that such a great play was hampered by the over-eagerness.
Now V5 has no momentum left. You know, they didn't have their AD carry who was putting out almost all of their team fight damage. Y4 now sitting halfway to his 3rd item. Tian maybe looking for the flank once again. Y4 needs to play really carefully because he is the large chunk of damage for his team.
Yeah, but he's got static shift now. He's getting there.
Yeah. He's working on it, man, and Jinx scales so incredibly hard into the later stages of the game that if they're able to stall this out long enough, I feel like maybe we could give him another 5% chance.
Yeah, you know, then we'd actually have to look towards the judge, Mr. Sanders himself, just to see where he's aiming. Right now, I'd say it's a 85% chance for FPX.
But FPX looking to close that 5% back up and get it back for themselves. They push down towards the bottom side. Corn and Lei here to respond, but Doinb and GlmGoon already took out a large portion of that turret, and Corn getting chunked down so much. Look how low his health is. GlmGoon dives in, but did he overcommit? They get the tower. The Super Mega Death Rocket goes wide.
Yeah, this is just upsetting on the side of Victory 5. Victory 5 are trying their hardest to at least get some play happening. The mid lane play when they were Baron buffed up, like that was good. Bottom side of the map trying to defend. Of course, Corn is not going to find a way in when he was getting harassed so heavily from both Doinb and GlmGoon. Of course, you already had the dual lane working at the top side of the map, so they're just getting pulled around. You need to see another play come through. We're not going to get anything out of Corn for a little while because he just doesn't have his flash available. I think trying to use Lei's ultimate that's still up would be a good way to get into the back line.
The problem they're facing right now is similar to the one they had last game. It's not the same degree, to be fair. Victory 5 are looking a lot cleaner and more decisive, but they're getting pulled around like you said. They're having problems figuring out what exactly they want to do, how far to go. So they just need that little extra push to be like, okay, maybe we shouldn't flash forward into Doinb. Maybe we should play it a little more defensively.
Well, I mean, if the league was a lot more even, then sure. Right now, Victory 5 are a team that's out of the playoffs. So getting to this point in the game, they're already at a major deficit. FPX were way too strong in terms of mid and jungle. And just seeing how they're able to make this play off the control war that they had in that little banana bush works out so well for Victory 5. I mean, for FPX. Now, Victory 5 has to leave this area.
Victory 5 trying to poke down as best they can. Y4 with the cannon autos. They'll keep the inhibitor alive for the time being. Y4 using the Super Mega Death Rocket goes wide once again. He's not found much purchase with those recently, but he has found his 3rd item purchase at the very least. The double energized attacks plus the eye edge coming out.
It's a good call from him. He's getting close to a point where he can handle a lot of these team fights. Like thinking how front to back work on the side of FPX. Braum is someone who's going to be taking the majority of the damage alongside Jarvin, and Jarvin is like surprisingly squishy because he's gotten so many kills. Remember that literally level 1 triple kill that he had. So he just went raw damage. And that's nice and all, but if we're having a messier game, a game that's getting slowed down by Victory 5, the backline damage that Victory 5 have between Kindred and Jinx is insane. Bouncy castle.
Well, we've talked a little bit about the gold lead as well, and it's ballooned quite a bit, we'll say, Raz. Now 12K for FPX, and they should be able to pick up this Infernal Drake. Baron spawning exactly now. So they picked up an Infernal, their 4th Dragon of the game, and now Baron is the name of the game for both of these teams.
Take a look at the Corki. Remember, Corki does have package. He's not troubled by the 4 people here at all. What are you guys doing?
Corn still doesn't have flash. He's looking for it. They force out the package at the very least, but that was a lot of burst damage onto Ben 4.
At least they did it early because mid lane and bottom lane push were premature. So, yeah, that Baron buff starts premature too.
But look at how Victory 5 are getting pulled across the map once again. You still have GlmGoon split pushing in the bottom lane. So if they go to contest this Baron, suddenly he'll have road into that inhibitor, a road into their base. They need to play this next fight so incredibly carefully. The teleport coming in to start it.
That's just going to be Tahm Kench's just in case. So to talk about how Victory 5 needs to be able to play this out, I think right now their current allocations of resources is right. Oh, okay, not that far in.
Ben 4, he still has the ultimate available, teleport coming in, but he doesn't even use the ultimate teleport again from Victory 5, but they're being chased down now. We'll be able to find a taunt from Corn, but not a whole lot else, and Y4 and Lei are just sprinting away from the fight. They've already lost 3 members of their team. The flash in from Tian secures the kill almost onto Y4. He's trying to live. The heal comes out, the Devour as well, but it won't be enough as Doinb gets the double kill and the ace.
Yeah. I mean, Ben 4, if you're just going to do that, then fine. Like, let's just end this game, but what the hell? Victory 5 had legitimately had the best way to defend both Baron and bottom lane from happening and forcing FPX into a team fight. But they threw it all away when Kindred tried to get that last hit on the ward.
And now FPX defend their title as unequivocal best regular season team, taking down Victory 5 in one of the quickest 2-0s we've seen so far in the LPL.
Handily from FPX. You said, best you put it, this was a victory lap for them. For this team that's been so successful in the split, such a historic split for them, for players that is, LWX, GlmGoon, like even Doinb, having split like these, you don't get to see from them. So now, so deep into the playoffs, legitimately semifinals. Not far-fetched to say that having 2 best-of-5 victories is very realistic for them. So if I'm looking at FPX, I'm saying, okay, think back to your victory, or at least like the games you've had versus Invictus Gaming, RNG. These were the hardest fought series that you've had, and they showed real cracks in your armor. So if I'm FPX, this is your best example of what you've been working on. I think this was super clean on your vision control around Crisp. The control wards were there from their primary facilitators, and Tian had just a flexing series. So facilitators are there, the carries you don't have to question, FPX are ready for it.
This is a great birthday present here for Coach Warhorse. I mean, this has got to be a great birthday. He finally got the brace off. He's got a win under his belt again. They're solidly secured in the first place, and his team showed the things that they have been working on and a little bit of cracks in their strategy with the slight over-aggression, but it's a fixable problem. And I feel like Warhorse and the team in general are going to be feeling pretty happy about the series.
And the fact that they were able to like rejig that, fix that within the game, and end it at 28 minutes, you're right, that's impressive. Against a team that mechanically is a strong opponent. A lot of teams would love to be able to scrim Victory 5. In terms of like looking at the teams that didn't make it to playoffs, Victory 5 is a team that will still challenge you within the early game. So getting to see a lot of how FPX have been improving within their vision control is nice, because that really does call into question a lot of the issues that we had with them like week 8 coming into this one. So thank you. I like it. Like, maybe that rewrites a lot of the question marks around like how Doinb's team goes into playoffs and starts to falter around that portion of it. And I see real flexibility within the draft, because going into 8.6, 9.6, the team seems like they can pick up a lot of these flex picks. Silas and Urgot are easy now around the top side of the map. And I say top side of the map because Tian can play them. And he's a smart individual, so I'd love to see what happens then.
They're looking really good. I mean, part of the result of this game, of course, is colored by the fact that they were able to pick up a triple kill for their jungler at level 1.
It's good.
Not something you can necessarily claim every game, so that's maybe coloring our opinion a little bit. I mean,
so
look at this
let's take a look
again.
at it. You see a Braum and Jarvin walking at you with a Kog'Maw. Now this one, I'll forgive you. You died with with the Jinx sticking around. Look at Ben 4 and Lei legitimately pacing back and forth. And then when the red buff was being taken, and we don't want to show that, that's R-rated. Why was Kindred coming right back in, flashing in to see if he can smite steal the red buff? Just go somewhere else, man. Literally go back topside. It comes down to that whole song of like know when to hold him and fold him, all that. Now I'm not gonna sing it right here now, but like listen to it, like learn from it. So obviously for Victory 5, it was the end of the road for them quite some time ago. But you want to be able to take the lessons that you can still get as you're, still contesting up against the best teams in the LPL.
It was a really bizarre level 1 as well, because it just seemed like a little bit of tilt coming in from Victory 5. And sure, that game 1 was really brutal, and they lost it, and that was awful and everything. But when you have your AD carry dying first in the fight, coming back to the fight, dying again.
Well, to be fair, he was trying to get the lane, man. He wasn't even trying to contest that.
All right.
He was just walking back to the lane. The Braum comes and kills him. So I'll give him that one. But overall, I think that what we learned from the series was more so like about the strengths about FPX. As a squad coming into this, moving into the playoffs, not a lot of people are still like behind them. A lot of people are still saying, you know, I was watching the LEC and Fnatic just demolished Vitality. So we're talking about the new teams coming into things. It's more so like the old guards that people still have natural faith for. So we're talking about EDG, IG, RNG, and somehow WE's making that final run. So FPX want to be that team to break the mold. And I think that they're in a great position to do just that alongside TOP. This is the split where surprises are going to happen in the playoffs because a lot of fans are going to be heartbroken. I'm sorry. If you're not a fan of FPX or TOP, one of your favorite teams are going to be losing to them. So it's going to be fun to be able to see that rolling.
Well, let's talk a little bit about those kind of matchups. What do you expect to be the big defining point for these matchups? Like if you see FPX against IG or FPX against RNG, what is going to be what makes them win or what makes them lose?
Well, thankfully, we saw that like as a preview for FPX when they were having that really difficult run in Week 6 to Week 8. Around there, we got to see them go up against the best team fighting teams and start to falter to that. When they went up against RNG, that wasn't happy for them. They were losing out in that respect altogether. And then when they went up against Invictus Gaming, that was hard fought, that was difficult, but a lot of that was now coming to the draft. They only won that series because, like, well, the Shy's out. That's fine, right? So that will not happen in a best of 5 situation, and if it does, you have 2 more games to right that wrong. And I think that FPX going into both of those scenarios, they already showcased stronger focus on their early laning phase. LWX is doing really well for himself with the added pressure that he's been getting in the mid lane. And then you see the team fights, they're getting a lot more crisper. They're getting a lot, I guess that worked out. It's getting a lot more cleaner around, like, you know, the control words that they're putting into the side of the map. So when they have pressure, they're not going to lose it, because too often do they lose the pressure that they had, as an example, when they went up against EDG and lost that series as well. So I want to see the run back against any of those teams to see if they've improved to that rate.
Yeah, and a lot of their pressure, and one of their most improved players we were talking about earlier is going to be Tian, our MVP once again. That's 2 for 2, baby. 88% kill participation.
Just take a look at him, man. That picture says it all. Come at me. I don't care what I'm playing. I'm playing the Silenced into the Jarvin. I'm taking your Cataclysm. And then I'm going to the second game draft. I'm taking that and then 3 more abilities. So he's definitely stealing quite a bit from Victory 5. And I'm looking into the playoff mode. And I want to see him continue to output that kind of progress. Because one of the biggest surprise for me was not just the fact that he improved, but he came in and he was competent in day 1 in FPX. I didn't see that when he was playing in Suning. When I saw him playing in Suning, I thought, I was like, okay, well, he's playing alongside Knight. I'm seeing a lot of uncharacteristic mistakes from him. And then maybe it came down to nerves. There were no nerves when he started with FPX. But when it comes to playoff time, sometimes those nerves rear itself back up when you're that large of a pressure point. So I want to see if Tian can keep it going.
And it's nice to see him improve in other aspects as well. We talked about how a lot of times he couples around the mid lane, but this series he seemed to be a little bit decoupled from Doinb. They're no longer joined at the hip necessarily. They can make those roams separately. This is a style we've seen used by teams like BLG as well.
Yep.
And it lets you split map pressure. You know, if you have your mid laner going down, 3-manning the bottom lane, and you have your jungler going up to the top lane, yeah, the mid lane's open, but 2 lanes are under heavy fire.
And you know who has the strongest legs? Not just the fact that we're having Tian make the run to the bottom side of the top, like just being able to make so much happen for his team. But apparently he just made ground with Knight in the MVP rankings. Somehow, Tian, with the 2 MVPs that he's been getting, and of course I saw him being able to pick those up in the previous series as well, is tied with Knight, who's been above and beyond everyone else in MVPs. It's insane that on a Doinb squad, that it's someone else picking up those MVPs. That says a lot about his performance.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talked about Doinb earlier in the series, and he's still looking strong. It was nice to see him go for what's tried and true for him today, because we know a lot of times he'll be like, okay, let's just try this. Let's see how this goes. Let's pull out the Riven mid. Let's try something new. But it seems like they're sort of saving their strategies more in line for playoffs. They want to keep things a little bit close to their chest, and I like seeing that from the team as well. Just having that restraint to not be like, all right, well, Doinb's been playing a lot of Malzahar. Let's pick Malzahar. Sure.
I mean, I think the biggest, you know, look to see what they can play into 8.6 was actually the Kog'Maw blind picks repeatedly. The fact that they're picking Kog'Maw in first phase alongside the Braum, to me, that's the most realistic thing that we'll see in 8.6 for them when they get into the semifinals. So I want to see what LWF can do, and if Kog'Maw becomes a major priority, remember, LPL time, whenever he gets close to the playoffs, Kog'Maw rises back up, and I think that's been time here today.
Yeah, FPX going to have a lot of questions raised in 9.6, but next up we have TOP versus BLG, and after that, our match of the week with IG and EDG. Stick around, we'll be back after a break.